Adjust your crown. It's podcast time. Welcome back to another episode of Parables for Woman's Heart. I'm your host, Pastor Osh, and in the studios with me this week, we have Devotions with Queens, the very founders of this podcast. And today we're celebrating mothers. This one is not polished, it's not scripted, it's not picture perfect, because the truth is, motherhood is far from it. So, in honor of Mother's Day, I'm sitting down with these beautiful, incredible women of God, and we're having a real conversation. The kind that doesn't always make it to social media. Yes, we're talking about the beauty, the pressure, the sacrifices, the silent struggles, and the grace of God that carries us through it all. So, whether you're a mother, or if you desire to be one, if you've lost a child, or you're still healing from your own mother wounds, this conversation is just for you. Let's dive in.
For the prayer she prayed alone and the strength she never posted.
So with me, I have Renee, I have Felicia, I have Jessica, and I have Alicia on this week. Missing is Lenora, but I'm sure you'll hear from her pretty soon. Now we're going to dive in, and I'm going to have this conversation in a format that keeps this moving. So we're going to just talk with each lady first. Yes, we're going to talk with each lady first, ask them a few questions, see what their responses will be, and then we move to another woman. All right, hopefully that makes sense, rather than asking one question and the other, kind of like the same question. So we're going to keep it moving. Now, queens, let's start here. What is something about motherhood that nobody warned you about?
There's actually a lot, but one thing that nobody truly warned me about motherhood is how deeply exhausting it would be, or it can be. It can be physically and emotionally exhausting. People talk about the joy and the love and the beautiful moments, but they rarely talk about the constant giving of yourself every single day. No days off, no vacation. No one prepares you for sleepless nights, that turns into sometimes exhausting days. The endless worrying, or how our body, like my body and my mind, feel drained while I still have to show up and love patiently. Amen. Taking care of my child is a full-time job. It requires strength that sometimes I feel like I don't even have. It is physically demanding to meet their needs plus my needs, emotionally overwhelming to carry all that responsibility of nurturing them, of protecting them, teaching them, and also comforting them all at once. It, as I said, is a full-time job.
Such an amazing question. One thing about motherhood that I really wish someone had warned me about is the fact that I could possibly lose myself. That the moment that I became a mother, my entire life would be revolving around this human being that I have created. And it took me off guard, and I really wish I knew that before becoming a mother.
Well, for me, Pastor Oshari, I think I didn't really understand the fact that I would constantly worry. Listen to me, I would worry about my daughter's safety at school. I got worried when she was with other family members. I would think about, what her life will be like when she's 10. I would worry if she's in, the house with me and she gets a little quiet, and then I would just, peek or run to look what she was doing. So I think my mind is always on the go, just worried about every bit and pieces of her life.
Hello everyone, this is Renee, a mother of two lovely miracles, lovely blessings that the Lord has given me. Something about motherhood that nobody warned me about was that there's no off switch. There is no off switch. Being a mother is a full-time job. You don't get no vacation, no rest. Even when you're sick, you still have to be mothering. Is that a word? Mothering? Yeah, and that's something that nobody warned me about.
Now, Phil, we're going to do this with you. Was there a moment that you felt overwhelmed or didn't say it out loud? Because as moms, we get a lot of those moments. So for you, was there ever a moment that you felt overwhelmed?
If I'm completely honest, there are a lot of moments, a lot of days that I have felt overwhelmed and I haven't expressed it to no one, so I keep it inside. You know, there have been moments I have felt physically exhausted, emotionally drained, and still I try to be everything for everyone. I remember taking care of my son and handling responsibilities, and at the same time pretending that I was okay, while inside I felt like I was running empty. I just smiled, I answered questions, I kept moving because that is what mothers often do, right? But deep down, I wanted someone to see and notice how tired I was. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to seem weak, incapable, and I felt like I had to keep holding everything together. As we all know, mothers are normally the ones that are the household people. We do everything and we pretend that it's okay, and we often don't verbalize how we're feeling and what we're going through. But when I look back, I realize that many mothers, just like me, carry a lot of things silently. We pour so much into our children that sometimes we forget we need care as well, we need rest, and we also need emotional support. That overwhelming moment taught me that strength is not pretending everything is fine all at the same time. Sometimes strength is simply continuing to love and give even when you feel worn down inside.
I understand. Yes. Well said. Now, I have another question for you. Do you feel pressure to be a perfect mom, especially with social media and everything that is going on around us? Have you ever felt like, you're not doing enough, you need to do more? Have you ever compared yourself as well to other mothers? And how do you deal with mom guilt? I know I carried that, especially after having Sky and when I migrated and I started a new job. I had to be in the city every single day, 5 days a week, and it really ran me into burnout. The things that I wanted to do with Sky, I was missing out on those of the promises that I made to myself, as a first time mom. I kept on breaking those promises, like always being here for the first this, the first that, and I really struggled. There were times I would just cry in the shower. I never vocalized my concerns and how I felt to my husband. I felt like that was just me and I had to carry that cross alone. So share with me, how did you deal with that?
Yes and yes. And that is why I found myself trying to stay off social media, limit the scrolling, because everywhere I look, it seemed like other mothers have everything together. They have the perfect home, happy children, organized schedules, endless patience, and picture perfect moments. It can make me feel like I'm falling short when in reality, social media often only shows the highlights and not the hard, exhausting, emotional parts of motherhood. Comparing myself to those images has sometimes left me feeling inadequate, overwhelmed, and questioning whether I'm doing enough. But I am learning that being a good mother does not mean being perfect. DJ does not need a flawless version of me. He needs me to be loving, present, and genuine. So I am slowly reminding myself that motherhood is not a competition. The human side of us will always have us comparing ourselves to other mothers and having us feel like we're not doing enough, right? Sometimes I say, I don't know how just do it. I only have one and I feel so overwhelmed. I said, my sister, I don't know how our house stays so perfect, right? Not a toy out of place, not a cushion out of place. And so, yes, I do find myself comparing, my motherhood journey to other mothers, and it will make me feel like I'm not doing enough, seeing especially on social media these moms and in everyday life who seems to be so organized, they seem to be patient and perfect, and that can make me question myself most of the time, because I'm already feeling physically exhausted and emotionally drained from caring for DJ, you know it is easy for us to forget, and for me to forget, that showing the best part of motherhood while hiding the difficult moments. That's what social media does. And I have to learn that a good mother is not about being perfect, and it's not about comparing or wishing that my journey would be like another mother's, but that loving my child and showing up every day, doing my best with the strength that God has given me is enough.
Thank you, ladies. Now, Jessica and Elise, I have a quick question for you. Have you ever felt like you weren't good enough as a mother? And I want you to be honest with this, because I think a lot of moms struggle with this right here. Have you really ever felt like you weren't a good enough mother?
Whoa. To be honest, Pastor Oshari, yes. I felt this way so many times. Especially because my marriage didn't work out. I started to feel like, I failed bringing her up into a stable home, and what I would do is use a smile to mask, the emotions, and, to show the smile as a form of courage. I also feel like my job, because I work a 3-hour shift every day, and so when I do get time off, when I should be resting, catching up on chores, I also have to compile, spending time with her, like playing with her, finding out how her day was. And, doing all that catching up, it really caused me to feel like, hey, I wish I had my own business, or I wish I didn't have to work so hard so I can be with her full time.
Yes, if I'm being honest, like right off the bat, I can say that this is something I struggle with even to this day. Feeling that I am not a good enough mother. Like I'm just scratching the surface, like just barely getting by at being a mother, if I'm being honest, you see other mothers, they do things so effortlessly, and you're being like, oh my gosh, I don't do that, I don't offer my kids this and stuff like that. And with social media, it can get very discouraging. However, I have to also remind myself that my kids are a top priority for me, and each day that I get up, I give 110, 120, as much as I can give of myself to make sure that they are okay. So when this feeling of not being enough pops up into our heads, like we truly have to try to dismantle it. If you know that you're doing all that you can do for your children, then definitely we're not going to be listening to that voice that say that we're not good enough, because I know that even though I feel like I'm not good enough, I know that I am doing the very best I can for the well-being of my children.
Wow. Well said, well said. Thank you so much. And I know it's not easy opening up about these encounters and experiences, but I believe that it will help a mother to pull over. Amen. Now, Renee, what's one thing you silently carry as a mother that people don't see?
One thing that Renee carries, two things that Renee carries silently. I know you asked her one, but two things that Renee carries silently is worried. Worried for not so much for me, but for my child and what the future looks like for them. Because if you realize that we're growing up where, no, the world is crazy. It's more violent now. So I'm worried more about their future, what will happen to them, how will they navigate as it relates to societies and their norms and stuff like that. Self-doubt as well. A lot of persons might look at you and say, you're confident, and how do you do this as a mother? And see your confidence, but self-doubt, because I feel like there are just times when I feel like I'm not doing enough, or what I'm doing now is not enough, like something short.
Now, Jessica, how did you get through your experience, the encounter that you had? Did you at any point in time feel supported, or did you feel alone? Sometimes as moms, yes, we have husbands, yes, we have partners, but the truth is we feel so alone. My God, we feel so burnt out, we feel so overwhelmed, and we just shut down. How did you feel during that time? And as a matter of fact, how did you get through it?
Oh yeah, this one right here is very dear to my heart, because I could say that I've experienced all of those things that you listed. Like at least once, some of them multiple times. Being a mother of so many kids, I have experienced most of these a lot. Um, Miscarriage, you know, a lot of people don't know this because people automatically assume that because I have so many kids that it's easy for me to have children, and I've never experienced that before. But Pastor Ocean, no, I have experienced miscarriage before. Um, my second child would my second pregnancy ended in a miscarriage, I would say, and not a lot of people know that, right? Because it's not something that I talk about a lot. I just leave it there because, like I say, it fails in comparison to the other, you ladies that have had multiple miscarriages and, being a mother of soon to be six. It's like, I don't talk about it a lot, but it happened. And that's what actually brought me and Pastor Osh back together. Like, we grew up in school, but it's because we were both going through this at the same time. Well, we went through it, and then we were both pregnant at the same time with our twinsy babies. They're both 9 now, and they're born in the same month, so that we kind of bonded over that, right? And I feel like even the birth of Devotions with Queens somewhat came from that experience, right? Because we would talk a lot, we supported each other, we strengthened each other, and most of all, we grew in our faith together, right? So that's one thing I don't talk about a lot, but it did happen. And every pregnancy after that, when I reached that 8 weeks mark, that 8 weeks mark, yeah, it's like I'm always looking out. So it doesn't matter how many kids you have, there's still that trauma, it's still there. Like, I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen now? Is it, you're every time you go to the restroom, you're looking for something to pop up, right? But like I said, bonding with someone who's been there before and who can pray with you, who can encourage, it made it a lot easier at the time. That was like years ago, right? And definitely postpartum struggles, depression, emotional exhaustion. I would just put all of that bundled in one because I experienced that so many times. Like I said, multiple kids. I experienced all of that. It was just the other day, like I was combing my hair for Mother's Day, and I was saying to my husband that I am already looking, like, anticipating losing my edges postpartum because of the stress that comes with postpartum, right? People don't really talk about it a lot, but it's a lot. The sleepless nights, the struggles that sometimes you feel like you're doing it by yourself, right? Yeah, the exhaustion, mentally, physically, you're just depleted and burnt out, and all of this potentially can lead to depression, right? So this is something that I know very well, very, very well. And getting through it is having people in your circle that can encourage you. Pastor Osh would always say, Jessica, have grace for yourself. Like, she literally told me that the other day. Have grace for yourself, right? Give yourself grace. That's what she would say. Give yourself grace, right? So I was supported, even though there are times that I felt like I was alone. There are people in my circle that supported me. I have a very supportive husband. I have, mother-in-law, my mom. So, but sometimes you still feel like there's just certain things you don't talk about. So that's why you feel like you're alone. But it's always good to have those people in your circle, especially to pray you up when you can't pray for yourself.
Now, Jessica, what's something you had to unlearn from how you were raised?
Yes. Oh my gosh. There are a lot of things that I had to unlearn from the way I was raised. However, I feel like two things really stood out to me, and I try really hard to not implement that in my journey as a mother. And one of them I'm struggling with to this day is being that affectionate mother. I never grew up receiving that, the affection that you see on TV. The mom just, the kids, they get a boo boo and the mom just kiss it and all that. I never grew up like that. It was always rough. And the only time I can remember my mom saying the word that she loves me, it would be like on my birthday. She would be like, she would give me a hug and she'd be like, I don't have anything to give you, but I love you, right? That's what I would hear. So because of that, I have this very hard exterior. I love my children dearly, but it's hard for me to show affection, and I'm still unlearning it to this day. And my kids, they're teaching me, like, they're the ones that they come and they hug me and, mommy, I love you. And so I am learning how to be this affectionate mother, especially in this generation. The kids, they love that love and attention, right? So that's one thing I'm still unlearning, actually. And the other thing, which is very big, is creating a safe space for my children to feel that they can come and talk to me about anything. Right? That's something I never had. I felt like I had to bottle everything up inside, because if I say this, my mom would get upset or she would beat me. You know, we're from the islands. You get beaten just to look at your mom wrong, right? And so I set that stage from earlier on. I set the scene. I'm like, my kids are going to be able to talk to me about anything, and I mean anything, not be disrespectful or, you know, anything like that, but they should be able to come to me, feel safe to talk to me about anything, right? So now they are safe to the point where they're just telling me stuff that I'm like, okay, you don't have to tell me that, right? TMI. But that's good, because I created that safe space that they could open up to me, because I don't want them to battle up the wrong things inside. I know, I experience what that is like, to keep stuff inside, hide it from your parents. There's no guidance that way, right? Like, I can't guide you if you're hiding something from me, and I want to be that first point of contact for you to come and say, oh, I'm struggling with this, I'm going through with this. It doesn't matter what it is. You know, I could pray with you, I could pray you through, I could pray for you, whatever it is. You know, I am here, I could talk you through it, but don't keep it because you feel like I'm going to get upset or whatever it is. No, come and talk to me about it.
Alicia, let's have a conversation. Has motherhood ever tested your faith? I know motherhood is pretty new for you. I'm more curious on the faith walk that you had when you became a mom. Did you ever question God on that journey? Did your prayer life change after becoming a mother? What was that like, if you could shed some light?
Pastor Oshari, definitely. I feel like motherhood has tested my faith. You know, I can remember when Liz was 2 months old, I saw an unusual swelling at the top of her right eye. And I remember I went to the doctor about it, and I remember they were telling me that as she grew, that swelling would grow. And I had to be at the doctor like every 3 months to, you know, do tests, to do follow-up, to really see what was happening. And I can remember one day I was sent to the children's hospital, and I remember a female doctor there, she said to me that they can try to do all these surgical procedures to see if they could remove the swelling. And she said, Mommy, let me tell you the truth, it might not work. And I remember she said to me, do you believe that God can heal her? And I remember with tears in my eyes, I said to her, yes. And let me tell you something, my daughter is now 4, and the swelling has not grown any bigger since. So I must say all praise to God, because I've trusted in God, and I'm still trusting in God, you know, that it is well, my God. And it's been over 2 years since I really ever went for a follow-up, because there has been no change. My God, God is good.
Thank you, Alicia. Renee, let's talk, all right? How has motherhood impacted your relationship with your husband?
You know that this is a tricky question though. How has motherhood impacted my relationship with my husband? I would say it has its advantages and its disadvantages. Reason being, there was 2, and we had all the time in the world to go on dates and to enjoy, have alone times and stuff. And then boops, there came 3, and then boops, there came another one. So it has been 4. The thing is that it has strained the relationship somewhat, meaning there are things that I was able to do back then I'm not able to do now fully, because as a mother and a full-time work, you go to work full-time, come back home, you have to look after the kids, and then there's the husband as well. He needs some alone time with you. So it does put a strain on the relationship, but it's something that we have learned to enjoy and also navigate. How I balance it is, now I have to set boundaries. So there are things that we're not negotiating on at all. We have a thing where we go out. Dating each other is a must. After how many years of marriage, or 10 years of marriage, and before that, much years before marriage, dating is a must. We have to have dates there we have to have check-ins as well, regular check-ins. So if it's 2 nights for the week, we have regular check-in to see where we are mentally, physically, if we are still in alignment with each other. So those things are non-negotiable for us: date nights and regular check-ins, because I need to know what my partner is thinking, despite me and doing homeworks as you come home from work, checking to ensure that they are where they're supposed to be in school. Worse, if they are sick, that's a whole nother story, right? As a mother.
My God, I get carried away into your conversation so easily, Renee. Thank you so much, Renee. Thank you so much, ladies. Before we close, I want to remind every mother listening, God, He sees you. The sleepless nights, the silent prayers, the sacrifices no one applauds. You are not just raising children. You are shaping their destinies. Queens, we're going to wrap this one out in fine style. Finish this sentence. Motherhood has taught me blank. What has motherhood taught you? So if you're hearing my voice, I want you to tell me in the comments, wherever you're hearing my voice, what is one thing that motherhood has taught you? If this conversation blessed you, I want you to share it with another woman, another mother, another daughter, because the truth is, motherhood is not meant to be carried alone. Queens, adjust your crown. And to every mother listening, guess what? We see you, we honor you, and we celebrate you. Happy Mother's Day. Queens, thank you so much for being here with me. Until next time, walk good.
She's been broken, she's been bending, still standing in the fight, held together by a promise and a quiet kind of power. They don't see the tears she hides or the battles in her mind, but heaven knows her name. This is for the one